You have to learn to let go of things gracefully in life in order to bring a shift and transformation in your reality. There comes a time when you are no longer energetically attuned to the frequency of certain things, relationships, whatever it is. There comes a time when you outgrow it, when only an expired version of yourself resonates with it. And whenever you indulge in that energy, you feel like something is being forced on you, something is being imposed on you. And whenever you are not around that energy, you feel really light, really calm, really aligned. So this is a sign that it is time to let go from that energy so that space can be created for a different frequency. Everything is energy and vibration. And when you are holding on to the stuff that you are supposed to let go of, you are tuning in into that frequency. But you have to let go of that frequency in order to change your frequency station. It's just like radio. But the more we dwell there, the more we want to recreate that experience, because ego is really stubborn. Sometimes you have those realizations. You realize that I have completely outgrown certain aspects, certain things, and it's time I let go of them. But ego is really stubborn. It wants to hold on to them. And that's what people do their entire lives. They go on collecting things, experiences, even people, because ego treats people like objects, relationships like things. And we find it really hard to even think about letting go of them. No matter how toxic it is, no matter how unhealthy it is for your energy, and you really feel that you don't belong there, that it is no longer resonating with you, but still you are stuck there because the ego is really stubborn. So if you really want to learn how to let go of things gracefully, first you have to understand that why the ego is really stubborn at holding on. If you understand this, you can easily let go. And the thing about ego is that its entire identity is about stories. That I am this person, I am in this relationship. Now without this relationship, where am I? The identity, it suddenly goes through an identity crisis when you are supposed to let go of stuff. Maybe I have worked here for such a long time, I have lived here for such a long time, or I have been in this relationship for such a long time, and I only know this. This is my story, this is where my identity revolves around. So if I let go of this, who am I? There is a fear of the unknown, that if I let go of this thing that I'm feeling really safe in, it's okay, it's toxic. From the perspective of ego, it's alright because it's safe. It feels safe, fear feels safe. Toxic feels safe if you have been stuck in it for a long time. So understand that until you connect to yourself on such a level where you realize that you are more than your ego, there is a higher self in you that is free, that does not need people, things, situations, jobs, relationships to sustain itself. Even when you don't have those things, your higher self will still be there. But we are really disconnected from it. We only live on the surface level, on the ego level, on the physical level. We only know things to be true only on that level. But higher self is something deeper. It is intrinsic. It is not external. Everything that the ego attaches itself to is external. But when you get to know yourself at the very core, you become free from the external. Then the things can come and go, but you are free from them. So the ultimate solution to let go gracefully is to stay aligned, centered in the core of your energy, which is your higher self, and to realize that all things are temporary. It's a constant cycle of coming and letting go, of coming in and letting go. But the more you hold on, you can't let go. You get attached. And this is the ego. Because the identity revolves around that particular story. That I am this, I am that. But your higher self is free from that all. You have to take action as well. Both movement are needed. Inner movement is needed to connect to that space where that higher self is, to clarity. The outward movement is about taking action. If you really feel that you are stuck somewhere, you have to let it go. You have to cut ties with people, with relationships. But when you start operating from your higher self, things come and go, but you remain as a witness, as a neutral consciousness. And definitely things will affect you. It doesn't mean that you won't feel bad, but you will have an understanding that this is life. Everything is temporary. Life goes on. You just go with the flow, let things come in, and when it's time, let it go. Because you are just carrying the burden of who you are not anymore. You have outgrown that person, that reality, but you are carrying it, and you are not creating space for the new, for the shift to take place, for the new transformation that awaits you. So learn to let go gracefully. Understand the roots of your ego. Understand that it tries to create a story. It tries to feel safe around that identity that it has created. But sooner or later, every story dissolves because it is just a story. It is something that we keep telling ourselves. Everything that the ego creates is a fiction, but the higher self is the truth. Your consciousness is the truth. What's within is the truth. Everything on the external can go on changing, but the consciousness remains the same. You remain the same from within. You witness it all. The consciousness in you remains the same when you were a child, and now when you are old. You witness from the same consciousness. The body goes on changing. It goes on taking different forms, but you remain the same. The watcher in you, the consciousness, the observer. I'm not talking about the mind. The consciousness is beyond the mind, and you go on becoming more and more aware of that consciousness when you go within, when you meditate, when you become present, when you do the energy work. You start becoming aware of that consciousness and you start raising your level of consciousness, but your level of consciousness is about how aware you are of that unchanging consciousness. It doesn't mean that the consciousness in you is getting bigger or smaller. It remains the same. It's just like the wave is realizing that it is the ocean. Does that mean that the ocean increases or decreases? Only from the perspective of wave, it becomes expansive. So it's always neutral, it's always same. You simply have to become centered there. You simply have to ground yourself enough that a deeper understanding blooms from within you. Everything passes. Bad times, good times, old reality, new reality, everything will pass by. And you simply have to enjoy when the things are there, and you have to let go when it's time. So in order to be a magnet for everything that's trying to come your way, in order to be really open to receive that, you have to learn to gracefully let it go. So if it comes, let it. If it goes, let it. Much love to you all.